Hello, let's jump into today's story. Title: Am I the A for canceling my engagement because my ex-fiancé invited my dad to our wedding? I, 29F, met my ex, 32M, in college. He knew all about my troubled relationship with my dad. Growing up, my dad struggled with addiction, cheated on my mom, and left us in debt. I only learned about his emotional and physical abuse toward my mom and siblings when I was much older. As the youngest, my memories are fuzzy, and my family hid this from me, thinking it was best because they wanted me to have a good relationship with him. My dad wasn't actively involved in my life and we didn't see each other often, even though my mom let him come by whenever he wanted. He would promise to take me out on weekends but never show up. When we did go out, he would yell at servers, threaten them, and drive recklessly with me in the car. He always criticized my mom to me. Two extreme incidents stand out. Once, he tackled a boy my age for talking to me and beat him, leaving him bleeding on the floor. Another time, he abandoned me at the mall on my 15th birthday, 3 cities away from home. I got lost and had to call my best friend to pick me up. The crazy thing was, after each visit, he'd leave me waiting in the car for hours while he went to his friend's house. My mom thought we spent time together, but it was mostly me sitting in the car. Despite my dad's behavior, we still spoke on the phone occasionally. I felt bad that he didn't have anyone in his life. Then one day, my mom decided to divorce him. He refused to give her the divorce until I stepped in and asked him to do it for me. He agreed, and I thought our relationship would improve. Yet even after the divorce, he remained distant and only reached out when he needed help with paperwork or other favors. Eventually, he asked me to forge my mom's signature, and when I refused, he called me a stupid bitch like my mother. I told my family, and they revealed the truth about his abuse and drug use. I realized he had been manipulating me for sympathy. When I confronted him, he blocked my number, and his baby mama told me he used me as an excuse to borrow a car to get drugs or visit her. When my ex and I got serious, I confided in him about my dad's manipulative behavior and my decision to cut him out of my life. My ex understood and supported me. He helped me stick by my decisions and not feel guilty for saying no. He had a great relationship with my family, which made me feel even more confident in our relationship. When we started planning our wedding, my ex asked about my dad, but I made it clear I didn't want him there. He hadn't been part of my life for 7 years, and I wasn't ready to reconcile with him, especially not at my wedding. However, one day I came home to find my dad there, invited by my ex to bury the hatchet. I was shocked and devastated. My ex's actions completely disregarded my feelings and boundaries. My dad made comments about being glad I came to my senses and made suggestions for my half-brother to be the ring bearer. I asked my dad to leave and warned him not to contact me again. My ex was furious, believing I should forgive my dad and work on repairing our relationship. But I didn't understand why I should forgive someone who cut ties with me and never apologized. My ex thought enough time had passed for me to forgive, but I argued that it wasn't fair for me to put in the work. My dad hadn't changed or apologized. When I asked how long my ex had been in contact with my dad, he revealed it had been 6 months. Feeling disrespected and hurt, I called off the wedding and told my ex we needed to rebuild trust and communication before getting married. But my ex refused, saying it was either we get married or break up, so I ended the engagement. He knew I had issues with lack of honesty and communication and the years I spent trying to appease others. By trying to force my father back into my life, it felt like he was deliberately trying to trigger me. I still don't understand why he reached out to my dad if he said he understood my reasons. Now, I'm getting a lot of hate from my ex's family, calling me names and blaming me for breaking his heart. They're saying I'm the AH for being so sensitive and overreacting. With all the backlash, I'm starting to feel like the AH. Did I do the right thing? Update. I'm going back to therapy, and I want to thank everyone who responded to my post. You all reassured me that I did the right thing. My dad hasn't come by my apartment, but I'm planning to move out soon. I've been staying in a sublet since I didn't renew my lease, as my ex and I had planned to move in together. Now, I'm moving in with my sister, who is converting a den into a bedroom for me. It adds more time to my commute, but it'll do for now. I'm changing my number and won't be giving it to my ex or his family. However, I did want to reach out to his mom. We've been a part of each other's lives for a long time, and I wanted her to know this wasn't how I wanted things to be. She wasn't aggressive towards me, just very disappointed. My ex's dad, sister, cousins, and aunts were the ones harassing me, using other numbers and making fake profiles to message me through Instagram. I called his mom, and while she was cold, I explained how hurtful their treatment of me was. She apologized but said she didn't understand how I could end our relationship just because my ex asked if I wanted to invite my dad. I clarified that he did ask me initially when we got engaged, and I didn't end the relationship immediately. I postponed the engagement because he invited my dad despite knowing I didn't want him there. I only ended things because he gave me an ultimatum. She asked why I never said anything, and I told her it was because no one asked. I only received hateful messages, and why would I respond to people who treated me like that? She apologized and said she would ensure her family knew. I told her it didn't matter, but I wanted her to know because she was important to me. She got really sad and started crying, which showed she did care somewhat. I've also received a few apologetic texts from other family members, which is nice. It's good to know some people are willing to apologize. I looked online but couldn't find a clear answer on how long my ex can keep his stuff at my place. When we first broke up, I sent him an email and text, but he never responded. I tried calling him, emailed, texted, and mailed a letter letting him know he had 30 days to get his things, with copies of my initial messages. Yesterday, he texted me and asked if we could talk alone when he came to pick up his things. I was hesitant, but I really want to put this behind me, so I agreed to meet in a public place. My brother drove me to a cafe this morning and waited outside while I met my ex. He told me he thought he was making a childhood dream of mine come true by trying to rebuild my relationship with my dad. I had mentioned years ago that I hoped my dad could walk me down the aisle someday. But that was before I learned the truth about his abuse and manipulation. My ex apologized, admitted he knew he messed up when he saw my reaction, but didn't know how to admit it. He gave me the ultimatum as a bluff, never expecting me to actually break off the engagement. He lied to his family because he didn't want them to hate him. He asked if we could work on our relationship and go to couples therapy, but I said no. I pointed out how he went against my wishes, kept contact with my abuser for 6 months without telling me, gave me an ultimatum, didn't apologize, and lied to his family, all very manipulative actions. Some people suggested he might have a savior complex, and I've been re-evaluating our relationship with that in mind. Either way, I don't want him in my life. He cares too much about appearances to try anything. He's supposed to get his things tomorrow, and my brother and uncle will be there. They're both big guys, and I know he's intimidated by them. I'm not planning to stay in the apartment in the meantime, and the only friend who knows where I'm going is my childhood friend of 20 years. I'm going to stay single for a while, go to therapy, and focus on staying active and enjoying life.